Hello my friends, hello, it's Matthew and I'm back for my second video today, which I intend on posting. Hopefully it won't be too overwhelming for you to perhaps check these out. But these two videos today are very important to me because they involve the loss of two musical legends who I feel the need to offer my tribute to them because they had such a big impact on my life. The first one I did earlier was Charlie Watts. I encourage you to go check out that video. But the one right now really is close to my heart, folks. I am a big fan of this artist who we just lost, certainly of the duo he was involved in, and that's Don Everly. We recently lost Don Everly from the Everly Brothers at the age of 84. May he rest in peace. I love the Everly Brothers, folks. It goes back to my childhood. Sadly, we lost Phil in 2014, just shy of his 75th birthday. Folks, this band means a lot to me because this is one of those bands that started out in the 50s during the rock and roll, the early rock and roll era, that my parents actually enjoyed and liked their music. Now, let me back up a little bit. My parents were born, dad and mom, respectively, 1930 and 1931. So they came up through the 1940s into the early 50s as far as the type of music they liked and enjoyed was the big bands type sounds, the choral type singing like Ray Conniff and Mitch Miller, Stan Kenton, the Ink Spots, Rosemary Clooney. I assume I could think of some others they enjoyed. You know, they came up during that era. Frank Sinatra, Johnny Ray. And coming into the early 50s, so by the time the rock and roll era hit in the mid 50s, 55, 56, 57, certainly with Elvis and Rock Around the Clock and all that stuff was a little earlier, they were a little old for that. They were like coming out of their mid 20s into their latter 20s. So they really, my dad has always said he never really quite got into like Elvis Presley or that kind of music. He said he didn't get it, if that makes sense. And my mom liked a few Elvis songs here and there, but she wasn't a big Elvis fan either. But the one artist from that era, and they came out big in 1957, was the Everly Brothers. Both of my parents enjoyed the music of the Everly Brothers. And I picked up on that in the 60s, when I was born in the early 60s, 1961. I always remember the Everly Brothers hits being around. I just remember knowing them and being familiar with them and loving their hits. And it just always meant a lot to me, their music. So the loss of Don, and certainly Phil earlier, but with Don now leaving us, it's really hard for me, folks, because as I said in my Charlie Watts video, we're all getting older, and as we all get older, certainly our idols and our musical stars that we love and enjoy, the legends, well, if we're getting old, guess what? They're older, So unfortunately, we've lost most of our 1950s recording stars now, and we're starting to lose a lot of our 1960s recording stars to old age, and the 70s and beyond. But the Everly Brothers, folks, I got to tell you, I've always been a fan. And they had been apart for many years. When I was like 12 years old, they broke up in 1973 and went their separate ways. By that point, their career as a duo had been waning a little bit on the charts and whatnot. Although they did put out some fabulous albums during that period. I'm going to show you one of my favorites in a minute. But 10 years later, in 1983, they decided to reunite. I was 21 going on 22 years old when this was announced. I was so excited about it. The Everly Brothers were getting back together, going to do a big reunion concert at Royal Albert Hall, of all places. What a place. I was so happy about it. And I remember it airing on the early version of cable TV. I don't know if it was HBO or whatever it was back then. Maybe you could remember more than I can. But folks, I was so happy about this big reunion show that I had to be part of it. I had to see it. I had to own it, have it. And what a show it was. I remember seeing it and being enthralled with it, to the point that right after the show aired, MGM United Artists put out this big old videotape. You don't see these much anymore, do you? It looks like a book. You open it up like a book. There's the VHS tape inside. Some writing on the inside about the show itself. Here's the back. Here's the side. And I've saved this as a memento all these years, folks, because I love this concert so much. And I encourage anyone who has not seen the Everly Brothers reunion concert at Royal Albert Hall, check it out. Years later, I did get the DVD eventually. I don't think it has as many songs as the VHS. It's certainly not all the songs from the concert. There's quite a few on there, but that's not the whole concert. But I'm sure you can get better DVDs or even a Blu-ray now. This is a fine little set with a nice center spread of Phil and Don. I'll show you real quick here. Behind the plastic. But this is a great little DVD to get. There's several different ones. You can, I'm sure, get one with all the songs. This one's only a partial set list. But what a great concert it was. I had to pick up the album when it came out. Passport Records released a double vinyl of the reunion concert with certainly more songs here. And it's just a fabulous, fabulous set, folks. Great center spread. Okay, I'll just show you one of the Passport albums. It looks like that. Okay, and you can get it on CD as well. I don't have a CD handy to show you. I do have it on CD somewhere. But it's just such a wonderful show. But the big news was that they were going to be staying together, recording new music, touring, doing shows, and me being in my early 20s and such a fan could not have been happier. To me, this was the golden era of the Everly Brothers. They were back together. They were doing stuff. So when it got announced that they're going to be recording a brand new studio album which ended up being called EB84. There's the CD of it. This is my original vinyl, shrink wrap, hype sticker. There's the sticker. Check that out. Dave Edmunds was going to be producing. Jeff Lynne was going to be contributing a song to it. Paul McCartney contributed a special song to it and played rhythm guitar on the song. There's a Bob Dylan song on here for all you Dylan fans, folks. This is an outstanding, probably one of my favorite Everly Brothers albums. EB84, highly recommended. All right, I'll give you a gander at that as well. It's on Mercury Records. And you get all the lyrics and information about the reunion and the recording on the inside. Folks, I cannot recommend that album enough. And the big hit song on it was the one written by Paul McCartney called On the Wings of a Nightingale. And I love the song so much that I bought the sheet music to it because I just thought it was so fabulous. What a wonderful, wonderful song it is, folks. Check it out. You won't be sorry. Written specially by Paul for the Everlys. And as you know, I mean, the Everly Brothers have such an influence on the musical artists that came after them. Certainly Lennon and McCartney, Paul Simon, Art Garfunkel, Simon and Garfunkel cite the Everly Brothers. So many artists cite the Everly Brothers as being such an influence on their style, on their vocalizations, on their harmonies. Just unbelievable how great these guys are. And a couple of years later, they released a second album on Mercury Polygram again. This one's called Born Yesterday. I picked this up original in the shrink, and there's the hype sticker. This album wasn't quite as successful as EB84, but if you're an Everly Brothers fan, I still highly recommend it. This was the US release, which I never liked the cover. I always thought it was a little too 80-ish looking with the pastel colors and whatnot. But I always like this, I think it's a German pressing I have of the album right here. Here's the Everly Brothers Born Yesterday with a different cover. And again, I think this is a German pressing. Same image from the front of the American album, but in black and white. And pretty much the same track listing. Again, this one came out in '86 and I think is also a fine addition to your Everly Brothers collection. They did release a final studio album together in 1988 called Some Hearts. I don't have the vinyl, but I can show you the CD of it. And again, probably my least favorite of the three reunion albums they did together. I love the first two. EB84 is top notch, and Born Yesterday is a fine album as well. This one's a good album if you're a fan of theirs. The only problem I have with this one is Don and Phil tried to write most of the material on here themselves. Nothing against their songwriting, because Don wrote some killer tracks on Born Yesterday and EB84. But on this one, the material just doesn't hold up quite as well for me. But if you are a fan, I do recommend it to check it out. Some Hearts. This was their final studio album in 1988. They did record a special song in 1995 for a musical that was being done. I don't have all the information on that here, but they did do that one final studio recording together in the mid-90s. By the 2000s, I know Phil wanted to retire because they did a tour with Simon and Garfunkel, and after that, Phil kind of felt that he wasn't able to hit the notes the way he once could, and he didn't want to resort to changing the keys and lowering the keys. So he basically retired by the late 2000s, 2008, 2009. They pretty much retired from doing shows together, and that was pretty much it for them. I do have a couple other albums. I have a nice promo album of one of their albums from the early 70s before they broke up the first time. It's called Pass the Chicken and Listen. It's a promo. It has a promo radio sticker on it. Let me give you a look at that one. That's a nice album. One of my favorites of their latter period before they broke up is their Roots album. Folks, I can't recommend this one enough. If you're a fan of country rock, folk rock, this is one of the earliest, finest examples of folk rock to ever come out, in my opinion, or country rock. And I saved my little hype sticker in the back there, but check out Roots. If you want a great Everly Brothers album, check out Roots. You won't be sorry. All my friends out there who like country rock, folk rock, check it out. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. 1968 album of theirs. Again, past their prime, past their peak period, but no less outstanding. It's a great album. And the last thing I want to show you before I get out of here and pay tribute to the late, great Don Everly and Phil is I did get to see the Everly Brothers twice in concert, once on the EB84 tour in 1985, and then again on the Born Yesterday tour in 1987 was the final time. And I don't have any mementos of the first time I saw them, but I do have the 4 ticket stubs when my parents and Mrs. Street and I went to a place called the Warwick Musical Theater in Warwick, Rhode Island, and saw the Everly Brothers. And you can't really, they tore the ticket up on me, but you can still see a little bit of the E.V. the Bros. There you go. So, a little more on that one maybe. You know, I always hated back in the day when you go to a show and they tore the heck out of the tickets on you. So you couldn't have the memento of seeing the, saving the ticket. They would tear it in half on you. So, and I did pick up this beautiful tour book, which I'm going to leave you with because it has beautiful pictures of them from the 1987 Born Yesterday tour. It's a nice book. Here's the front, here's the back. And I'll show you each page. Very nice tour book to have. You can get this on eBay. If you go on eBay, you can get several tour books of theirs. And if you're a fanboy, go think about picking them up, folks, because they have some really nice tour books with some great pictures of the guys in there. That's when they went in the Hall of Fame. They were in the first induction class of the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There they are with Chubby Checker and John Fogerty. Nice picture of the brothers there. Being interviewed by Entertainment Tonight, I believe. Yeah. MTV interview. Just such a wonderful artist. Highlighting their 2 albums over here, EB84 and the new one. And an advertisement for Albert Lee over here, who was their musical director and played on all their tours and shows. Final page. Nice picture of the guys there. So folks, I know I went on for 15 minutes here, but I just wanted to pay a little tribute to Don and his brother Phil, who we lost several years ago. Gonna miss you, Don. Pray for Don and his family. Such a wonderful musical duo. They had an influence on so many people, on so many fans. They sang like angels. Voices in harmony forever. Foreverly. The Four Everly Brothers, I'll tell you, I love them. Great artists. Thanks for being here, folks. Thanks for watching this and paying tribute to Don Everly and the Everly Brothers. Peace, love, forever. Bye-bye.